Hi, my name is Joe. Thanks for coming back. I had a couple things I wanted to go over today. I got a visit with my stepdaughter, a 4 hour visit after 2 weeks. I'm not too sure that that's the best plan, but it went uh, it went really good for 4 hours after I just spent the last over 8 years with the kid. But of course, I could ask mom for more time, which I did. And I said, hey, I got her every other Monday for 4 hours until school lets out. Then I'll get her every other Monday for the overnight, and I'll drop her off the next evening at, I think, like 8 o'clock, which that's not bad. But every other Monday right now while she's in school, I pick her up at 4 o'clock and I drop her off at 8 o'clock. So I was thinking, well, I'll tell mom that it's probably not very good. So I'm sure she'll work something out. It's a 4 bedroom home. It is so bad when I first went there a little over 8 years ago. You could barely even spend the night there. It was horrible in every way that you can imagine. I don't think they had any furniture that had legs on it. Um, the beds were just mattresses in the bedrooms, where people had either slept on the mattresses or on the floor. That was the choices. Maybe the first week I stayed there, I slept on the floor. I thought, yeah, this probably isn't normal. So we talked, and then we started dating, and I started helping her with everything over there. And like I said in previous videos, it was years worth of work over there, years. But I put the time in. The first year or two, she almost matched me. So she was doing morning till nighttime, and I mean dark nighttime. We worked on one floor at a time, one room at a time. Got everything done except for the attic, which it still didn't get finished. And that's how bad it was. It's been 8 years and the attic hadn't gotten finished. I left that for them. It's my wife and her 2 daughters. One's 19, one's 17 now. At first, my son was going over for visitations when I first got married there, and so was the three of them. They got along pretty good. But anyways, so we worked on that place all this time, got it into much better than good. I wouldn't be embarrassed to have anybody come in. And now it's still kept good and kept clean. Just as an example of how it was, there was somebody had smeared dog shit in the furnace vents. Not sure why. I'm sure the smell wore off after a while, but it looked like it had been there for 2 years. But that's just a little sample of how it was. So anyways, I know I can count on her, you know. I've busted my ass to make it more than 50-50 there. So I said, hey, the visitation thing sucks. I did get her to write it, and that's what she wrote, exactly what I just said. And I said, hey, I'm going to give it to my lawyer, let him take it in front of a judge. That way nobody be changing their mind. So anyways, yesterday I talked to her and I said, hey, I was talking to Kira and she was telling me that she thinks maybe she gets one Monday a month off school for the next 3 months before school's out. I'd like to, or I'm sorry, it was Wednesday. She was getting that Wednesday off of school once a month. I'd like to go ahead and get her to come over and spend the night at my new place. And Mom said, absolutely not. That is not what we agreed to. And I said, I beg your pardon? What we agreed to is what I had to have right from the get-go so that you know I wasn't playing around. And again, she said no. It's not what's in writing. We're not doing it. So I was speechless for a few minutes. And actually I hung up on her. And about an hour later I texted her and told her that I thought there was some kind of problem going on. And of course she stuck to her guns. Her fearless leader, I'm sure she already touched base with. She said no, that's not what we agreed to. Again, this hasn't went to court yet, so visitation, what I asked for, will probably change now that I got a sample of the real McCoy over there. But so I said, hey, I think maybe you should have thought about it before you do this, since it hadn't went in front of the judge. It's not like I'm asking for. Right now, I get 8 hours a month visitation with a kid that I've spent over the last 8 years with every single day. So she said, well, I said, maybe you could talk to Kira and see what she thinks about it. So she still said no, it's not happening. 3 or 4 hours later, she texts me. She says, hey, if you pick Kira up after work next Sunday night, you can keep her till 5 o'clock Monday in the afternoon. She's out of school for Martin Luther King Day. So I said, this is pretty strange. Why would you just cause all the drama that you caused and then tell me that you already talked to Kira and discussed it and decided she was going to come over here Sunday night, which I have no choice but to do it, of course. But it was just a point. So that's what I said. You mind explaining to me what in text, not in call. I said, would you mind explaining to me what the difference is? And she said, well, Kira won't be going to school at all for Martin Luther King Day. So I said, okay, which I still haven't answered back, and I don't have much of a choice but to get her. But I was thinking the whole time, if this hasn't gone in front of the judge yet, I have a funny feeling that I might have to ask for a little bit more than I thought. I don't know what you're supposed to do in a situation like this when things come to a boiling point. I'm definitely not trying to do any of it for me to gain anything out of. I did come and stay with somebody else right now for the time being until I figure out what I'm going to do. And one of the main purposes for that is so I can make sure I got enough money when it's time to go on. What is holding me up is all my time and money that's been dumped into that house there. And that was another thing that she said, oh, it's hard times for everybody. So I said, well, yeah, it's got to be for everybody. Since you're still there, the only thing I took out of that house was my son's bedroom suit, which has been there for